Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to make seated figures. There is my template that I fit the subject in. Here is a tool that I made out of brass wire to scribe lines. And then here is a variety of sculpting tools to model the clay. Here's a slightly bigger one. Here is a handmade tool made out of old brush handle that is also for sculpting, and a brush for smoothing lines. And now, using a regular knife, I'm going to make the head by carving out a piece of clay and making it into a ball. The trick is now to get the ball small enough to fit the template. Now that you're going to start making a head, get a reference photo that shows you the proportions of where the eyes and the nose and the mouth go. With the drawing, you can see the positioning of the nose and the eyes and the mouth. The sculpting of the face is the most critical part of the figure, so take your time with this and refer to your reference drawing. Here I am already starting to make the impressions of where the eyes go using the small sculpting tool by poking, making round impressions here, and keeping in mind that about halfway down the forehead is where the eyes go, and then I put about halfway further down, I start the impression of where the nose goes, and then I'm making further impressions of where around the cheeks, and developing the nose, and trying to flatten the nose a little, and constantly measuring it against the template. And I'm still doing some more cheek development and trying to prop up the nose so it's not so flat. Keep in mind, right below your eyebrows, your nose dips in, so make sure you do that. Key thing is to make sure that the nose sticks out farther enough. Now let's make the ears. I start off with a small ball and use the small tool to start pressing it into the head to start making the impression. Now, the next step is making the torso. Since I am going to be making a sitting figure, I'm going to use the standing view of the template to make the torso, and then we'll fit it into the sitting template later. First, try to get the shape and size that you want, if this person is going to be heavy or not. I'm starting to make the shape of a woman's features on her body. So that starts with a line, and I'm starting to shape it. One of the key things to remember is also to make sure that not everybody is the same and not everybody is picture perfect in size and shape. You want a variety of people types, both tall and short, big and small, well endowed and not so well endowed, so that you have a typical community. Now when you're satisfied with the shape standing up, bend it in the sitting template to get a good seating position that will fit your chairs. The next step is joining the head to the torso. At this stage, the head and the torso had not been baked, so it's easy to combine them, but this is a fragile approach. You should use a wire armature instead for the arms, the legs, and the head. I had to add wire for the legs and the feet afterwards by drilling a hole in the already baked body and supergluing the wire into the body, making it easier to add arms and legs in the next steps. The next step is to make little clay noodles and insert it into the clay by engulfing the wire with the clay and beginning to shape the arm. Shaping the arm takes a lot of practice. Constantly refer to your reference drawing to make sure that you're getting the arm just to look right, and forming a ball for the hand, and then flattening the ball to start making a hand shape. This is tricky, especially as sometimes the clay will move around and expose the wire, and you have to force it back in place. But be patient, refer to your drawings, and form the arm, showing where the forearm is where it's thin, and where the wrists are, which is even thinner, and how the hand moves into the shape of a hand. and where the thumb is. The legs are the same like the arms. Form little noodles and join them into the original body and start smoothing the soft part into the hard part that is already baked. Here I was not as concerned about the quality of the legs because they were going to be hidden under a table that has a tablecloth so that legs would not be terribly visible. So I could just do rudimentary shapes here. The next step is adding clothes. Here I am cutting up a flat piece of clay that I flattened using a bottle. And the trick is to look at reference photos to see how fabric folds when you are seated. And fabric has weight. Gravity pulls it down so it doesn't run across the legs as though there was not two legs there. So make the impression of where the legs are. Look at the photos to make sure the folds are correct and smooth in the fabric to the underside. I took some away so that there wouldn't be added height to the person, considering that this fabric is supposed to be thin. Here I am cutting pieces for the sleeves, and because it's summer, the sleeves are short. Place the sleeves in place and smooth them into the rest of the body, making sure that any rough shapings are smooth with either your sculpting tool or your brush. Now the hair. Look at reference photos to make sure that you have hairstyles that match your era. I put a wad of clay and started forming it with my fingers and started smoothing it and started getting the shape. Now using the tool with the brass rod, I start making the hair part and started shaping the front of the hair to get it to look natural. And now with the wire, started making strokes. Make sure that the strokes go from the top to the bottom, and some of them going in a slight angle to kind of make it look as natural as possible. Also pay attention as to how the hair meets the body at the bottom so that it looks like normal everyday hair and not one even row. One even row is usually just once you get out of the hairdressers, but after that, especially in the 1930s, the hairstylists weren't a big thing, so make sure that the hair is not so uniform. The last step would be to add the eyeballs, which is a small, tiny ball pressed into the eye sockets and pressed down with the wire tool to make eyeballs. I enjoy making my own figures because I can have a variety of expressions and postures in my figures, which I think adds a lot of realism to my railroad. I hope you liked the video. I surely enjoyed making the figure and adding to my restaurant scene. Please consider liking the video and subscribing.